Hi, welcome to another edition of Motivational Mondays. I'm Cory Mosley. Today I want to talk about the concept of professionalism, and I want to talk about it relevant to the idea that all you really need to do is create the ethos of professionalism. You know, some of us weren't raised properly in terms of home training. Please, thank you. You know, you can walk down the street and see people and bump into them and they act like that, you know, you just ruined their day. And even though we know the proper times and some of the proper things we should be doing as far as manners and professionalism, we don't. Most of us know what professionalism looks like, but we don't act on it. So for the purposes of working with our customers and in our effort to sell more cars, all we really need to do is create the ethos of professionalism. All we really need to do is look at our presentation. Look at our presentation, whether it be how we dress, how we speak, how we meet and greet the customer, how we engage them on the telephone. Can't tell you how many dealerships I call every day where the sales department answers the phone, sales. No greeting to the dealership. These different things drive perception. Perception drives decision making on the part of your customer. I'm going to go back to a reference from The Cosby Show. Most of us have seen The Cosby Show at some point in time. And there's an episode in The Cosby Show that's very unique. A lot of life lessons in The Cosby Show, but there's a very interesting episode where Vanessa comes home from college for the first time, her first semester home. And she's home 5 minutes, and she's talking about how great she's doing in class. And she says, by the way, I'm married. Or I'm engaged. I'm sorry, she says, I'm engaged. So, of course, now Cliff and Claire are very perplexed as to how she went away to take up English and math and came back engaged. So they said, well, where is this guy? We'd like to meet him. Oh, he's right around the corner. He'll be here in an hour. So guess what happens for the next hour? For the next hour, they're scrambling to try to figure out all the information they can get. They brought the grandparents over. Everybody's making phone calls, trying to find out who this guy is. And you know what? In their efforts to figure it all out, they get it wrong. They get this guy confused with a 40-year-old, twice divorced brother of the person she's engaged to. So he comes over and they're basically railroading him. They're being nasty, they're asking him all these questions, they're being pretty rude and abrasive. So at dinner, Vanessa stands up and says, why are you guys treating my fiance this way? I love him, I'm going to marry him. And Bill Cosby gets up as only he can do, and he brings the gentleman to the front and he says, the character's name is Dabnus, and he says, Dabnus, let me ask you a question. What type of food do you like to eat? Dabnus says, well, you know, I sure could go for a steak. He says, you like a steak? You like that cooked on the grill? You like that grill with some sauteed onions on it? He says, that sounds good, doesn't it? He says, boy. He says, listen, I'm going to fix that steak just the way you like it. And instead of going in the kitchen and getting a plate, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take the trash can lid and I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put your steak on it. Then I'm going to serve it to you. Doesn't sound too appetizing now, does it? He says, no, it doesn't. He says, the problem that you faced is she brought you here on a trash can lid. So every step of the way, every interaction with the customer, whether it's the initial phone call, whether it's the meet and greet, you know, if you got a shirt and tie on, put your shirt and tie on. Close it up. That perception leads to the customer's decision. The majority of consumers will go to a restaurant, have a bad experience, leave a tip, and never come back. That's how the majority of Americans think. Not necessarily you and I, not high-strung people like us salespeople who want to wake every manager up in the building. But the reality of it is, go to a restaurant, have a bad experience, leave a tip, never come back. We call that a be back. We call that a be back when they leave the store. And that's why we accept 30% close ratios. That's why you have to see 500 people to sell 150 cars. So let's look at the responsibility that you carry as a salesperson, regardless of internet, BDC, or on the sales floor. What's your accountability to the cause? And that cause being selling more cars and also the income that you produce for yourself. What's your take on that? What perception do you create? What perception do you give off that creates decision on behalf of the customer? That's the question. And that's the reality that you need to create for yourself. to become a better professional, if you have an interest in actually staying in this business? These are the questions you need to ask yourself every step away if you intend on staying in this business, being professional, competing. All important questions. Thanks for joining me this week. I'll see you next week.